Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of the Jazz Albums Review series. And today I'm going to be taking a look at another 2025 release, this time from perhaps, for my money, the greatest clarinet player of all time. And he is still going very strong to this day as we speak. And this is a musician who, quite frankly, in my opinion, needs no introduction whatsoever. I am talking about, of course, the one and only legendary clarinetist and composer Eddie Daniels, and this is his latest recording for Resonance Records, To Milton With Love. So, To Milton With Love, just like in the name, is a tribute to the legendary Milton Nascimento and is the third and final installment of a Brazilian trilogy that saw Eddie Daniels release a number of different tribute albums dedicated to performing famous Brazilian musicians' compositions. So the first installments came out in 2018 called Heart of Brazil, a tribute to Egberto Gismonti. And the second installment, which came out in 2020, was Night Kisses, a tribute to Ivan Lins. And this is the third and final installment to Milton With Love, which came out in 2025 and is a tribute to Milton Nascimento. And the title is kind of a play to an album that Eddie Daniels released a number of years ago on the GRP label called To Bird With Love, which saw Eddie Daniels perform a number of famous Charlie Parker compositions. So this is kind of that sort of thing, but very different, of course. So To Milton With Love is very heavily orchestrated, but is very rooted in the jazz realm. So of course we see Eddie Daniels performing clarinet, which for me is where Eddie Daniels is at his absolute best. And we also see Eddie Daniels play tenor saxophone, and we've even seen Eddie Daniels digging it out of mothballs, playing flute once again, which was an instrument he used to play quite heavily back in the 70s. So it's a beautiful album, very well arranged, very slick, very professional. Everything about it is just excellent. And Eddie Daniels, as you'd expect, is on fine form. So the musicians assembled for this Brazilian project. Of course, we've got Eddie Daniels on clarinet, flute, tenor, and soprano saxes, Josh Nelson on piano, Anthony Wilson on guitar, Kevin Axt on bass, Ray Brinker on drums, and we've got the Lyris String Quartet. And of course, all of the compositions are written and composed by Milton Nascimento, with the exception of one track, which was composed by Josh Nelson. And it's an absolutely beautiful album, very well put together, and the production is outstanding. So let's have a quick look, shall we? So we've got some liner notes about how this project came together and how important Milton Nascimento is. And we're going to have a quick look at this as well. So it's just a little bit of the history about Milton Nascimento. So it's just more or less, as I said, just a little bit of the backstory about Milton Nascimento's place in Brazilian music history. And there's some more notes as well. Gorgeous artwork as well. And then we got a little breakdown of each track and what it's all about. And more or less the same sort of thing, just a little breakdown of each track. And there he is, the man himself, the maestro, Eddie Daniels. And just some sleeve notes and special thanks to everyone who performed on this album. So from top to bottom, To Milton With Love is absolutely fantastic. Everybody brings their A game. Everyone is on peak form. The playing is outstanding. The musicianship is great. Great guitar playing from Anthony Wilson. Great piano playing from Josh Nelson. And the rhythm section of Kevin Axt and Ray Brinker. They just sound absolutely tight. The Lyris String Quartet really complements the compositions really well. And Eddie Daniels, he's on top form as always. And nothing against his sax playing. His sax playing is okay, but for me, clarinet is where it's at, and that's where he really shines the brightest. And the clarinet tracks on this album are just absolutely incredible. So we've got the first track, Travessia, which is a really gorgeous opener. Vera Cruz is one of Milton Nascimento's most well-known compositions, absolutely incredible. Tres Pontes is excellent. Alto Bro is brilliant. Courage is great. Rio Vermelho is great. Gyra Giroux is great. Moro Velho is great. Catavento is excellent. Canco du Sal is brilliant. And the closer, which was penned by Josh Nelson for Milton, is just absolutely beautiful and a great way to close out this album. And top to bottom, it's amazing and a really fitting tribute to the legendary music of Milton Nascimento. Eddie Daniels and the musicians who accompanies him do an outstanding job, really taking Nascimento's compositions and bringing it to life and really making it their own, in my opinion. Just an outstanding performance from everyone involved and just a remarkable album. I'm a little bit curious as to why there was no album dedicated to Antonio Carlos Jobim, because, he's one of the true pioneers, bridging Brazilian music and jazz. Maybe we might see that one day, but, he says it's a trilogy, so this is the third and final installment, but I think there should be a Jobim tribute album because, it makes sense, but time will tell, really. But as it stands right now, we have a trilogy of 3 Brazilian tribute albums, and they're all great, but this one really stands up as one of the best in the trilogy, in my opinion. Just a fantastic album. And the standouts for me are Vera Cruz, Moro Velho, Catavento, For Milton, and Courage and Alto Bro. But top to bottom, it's excellent. Everybody's on top form. Everyone sounds great, and Eddie Daniels, he's just on absolute fire. Just a fantastic album and a real tribute to one of the all-time great Brazilian composers in Milton Nascimento. So there you have it. To Milton with Love. Fantastic stuff and a fitting and final chapter for the Brazilian trilogy from Eddie Daniels. Outstanding. Love it. So that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What's your favourite track from To Milton With Love? Is it Transvesia, Vera Cruz, Tres Pontes, Alchabro, Courage, Rio, Vermelho, Jaira Juru, Moro Velho, Catavento, Canco do Sal, or For Milton? Or did you enjoy the entire album from start to finish? There's no right or wrong answer. We all have our favourite tracks. You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below. And I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Jazz Albums Review Series. So until next time, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.